ain't ever.
Alrighty, hey, and good evening, everybody. This is Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is Christ and Culture Mag. And folks, I know I keep saying Christ and Culture Magazine. I'm pretty sure we're going to probably have to make this into a magazine pretty quick here because it's just on my mind. I want to welcome you all to the broadcast today. I hope everybody's doing well and that you're all ready to go. It's been a great week. I mean, it's just been one of those weeks, and we've got so much to talk about. I mean, we really do. And you probably saw some at the beginning of the show already because we had like a little boo-boo. It looks like we had some technical difficulties there. But Christ and Culture is really all about how Christians are looking at trends in the culture right now, and really some of our commentary on it, on how you can, might be able to live and even survive and thrive during these tumultuous times. Watching, if you're watching it now, you're probably watching us on our YouTube channel, but we're also going to be having this show on our new YouTube channel, which is Christ and Culture, and so you'll be able to check it out there too. So just be advised that it's going to be up on our Christ and Culture YouTube channel, and eventually we're going to go straight over to our YouTube channel on Christ and Culture, and you're just going to be able to go from right then there. But before we get going too much further, let's introduce our co-host on the show, Pastor Tommy Allums. How are you doing, Pastor Tommy?
I'm doing well, Pastor Sherman. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, thank you, sir. Just another beautiful day in the Lord.
It's 80 degrees outside today.
I know. In Vegas,
February.
Right? February. And this is why people come here to Vegas, isn't it?
Yep.
This is why, because it's beautiful weather, and be wearing shorts here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it'll be shorts weather. So, Pastor Tommy, tell me about your week. Tell me, everything been going well this week so far?
Yeah, I finally got the YouTube channel up. I got a few videos uploaded.
Mm-hmm.
Just finished the series on the prophetic.
Oh.
It's I'm looking forward to sharing it with a lot of people and getting some feedback. But it's been a good week.
Oh, great! So let's give us a real quick plug. So, what is your YouTube channel? I'm going to look at it myself too.
It is Flaming Word LV.
Flaming Word LV. Okay.
Yes.
So folks, you're definitely going to have to go over there and check that out. And and we've been talking about this for a little while now. That it's going to be up, it's going to be rolling, that we're going to be excited about it. And hopefully we'll be able to get some of your stuff over on Godstream TV too. I hope so.
Yes, looking forward to that.
Yes, very cool. So we want to encourage you. So it's Flaming Word LV. And so you've got some videos up there, which is great. So excited to see that. And but we're definitely going to get you on our Godstream channel too. And I can't wait to see that. Great.
That would be awesome.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, so we're on our Godstream channel right now. So we're on the Godstream TV channel right now. And like I said, next week, I believe next week, we're actually going to go directly to the Christ and Culture Show YouTube channel. Got that all set up just a few days ago. So it's got season 1 on it. It's got season 2 up there. So you're going to be able to go straight there, and you're going to be able to check that out. And so very excited about it. But if you can't remember anything, just go to Godstream TV. Okay, Godstream TV, and you can check it out there also. So Pastor Tommy, we've had some crazy things going on. This is the first 100 days of the Trump administration, and it has been nothing short of spectacular, I got to tell you. One thing that came up, and I know a lot of people have been talking about it recently, there's a pastor by the name of Jamal Bryant. And Jamal Bryant is a pastor over at a mega church out in Baltimore. And he had some things to say about some of the folks that went to the Trump to Mar-a-Lago to celebrate some of the accomplishments of the Trump administration. Now we're going to play they're going to play the tape, and it's about 20 seconds or so. And I want to warn everybody right now. So I want to warn everybody right now before we play it that it is quite graphic. It is quite racist, if I might say that. And so don't be shocked, folks. Be forewarned, though. Okay. So we're going to play this for you right now. And once again, I'm going to make sure that we can actually hear this. This is, like I said, it's quite graphic. And so we're going to go ahead and play it for you right now. This is Pastor Jamal Bryant. And these are the things he said. And we'll have Pastor Tom, we'll have to get some of your feedback on. Here we go.
I ain't ever scared. In case you forgot, I'm from the west side of Baltimore. If you got a problem, pull up on me. Go backwards and tried to risk our freedom. I feel bad for them coons in the White House who are in there tap dancing for massa, wearing bow ties, shinning and grinding, laughing like nothing is funny. Get out of there, Negro, and stand with your people so that you understand that God is on our side. All these other churches might not say nothing, but at 6400 Woodrow, we right outside of Decatur where it's greater. You got to understand that there is more for us than there are against us. Y'all been praying for me all week. You've been nervous all week, but I ain't afraid of the spooks that sat at the door.
Okay. I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. All right, that was enough. So, Pastor Tommy, I know it was hard for you to hear that. And for the folks that were listening to, once again, we warned you before we played this what you were gonna to expect. That was Jamal Bryant, and Jamal Bryant was talking about a group of Trump supporters who happen to be of color, and he takes umbrage. I mean, he's like basically saying, look, you shouldn't support the president of the United States. You shouldn't support his agenda. He called them spooks. He called them, I don't know if we should, I can't repeat it. It's just bad. So, Pastor Tommy, when I first saw this guy, Jamal Bryant, probably 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, up and coming young pastor, to tell you the truth, I thought this guy was actually just mainstream Christianity. Had no idea that he would go so far off the reservations. When you caught wind of this tirade, what did you think?
First of all, I was not shocked because of he has an antichrist spirit. I know he's a pastor of a church, but he carries the antichrist spirit. What do I mean by that? Well, he's aligning his church with the Nation of Islam. He's even on record saying, I don't know if you saw this, but this is actually what blew my mind about him. A couple of years ago, he said that Jesus Christ was out of order 2/3 of his life. This guy, so when he says things like that, it doesn't come as a surprise. But one thing that he said, I think he called black people who supported Trump runaway slaves.
Yes.
Hey, yeah. I'll take it. I'll take it. Run away from being a slave. And he doesn't even know that people are jumping ship, running away to be free. And here he is trying to keep people bound, and people who run away to be free, he's calling them runaway slaves. Just go figure.
Yeah, this was disturbing. I'll tell you, I was so disturbed when I heard this. Not that I'm shocked to hear people say things like this. Okay, I've heard this my entire life. So I'm going to give you a little background, probably something I've never told anybody before, but our family, because we're from the Caribbean, okay, we're Jamaican. We are my mom, little Jamaican lady, raised her kids. We went to private school, even though we lived in an all-black neighborhood. So we were ostracized by our own community, even though we lived in the same community. Okay, we ate, we played, we did all this stuff together. Okay, but throughout my entire life, I've heard this. I've heard that, you don't speak, you speak white, you blah 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 blah. Okay, all the things you could say, all the stereotypical things you could hear. So it was not a surprise to me to hear this kind of language. What was a surprise to me was to hear it come from a man of God, quote unquote, a man of God, out of the pulpit, for him to not to say I disagree with people, because people disagree all the time, but for him to call brother a spook, really, and step it and fetch it, and runaway slaves and all. Oh, come, I'm just wondering, is this the sign? Is this what we saw? What we see in the book of Matthew, and we look at, they're saying, hey, that this is what's going to happen in these final days. Is this what we're seeing, Pastor Tommy?
Absolutely. You got to keep in mind too that he had, Vice President Kamala Harris preach at his church.
What is? I didn't know she was a preacher. Am I?
She's not. That's the whole thing. But because she utilized the platform to stir up the people with her preaching style, because she delivered her message like she was preaching. But you're right. It is that great falling away. It is that spirit of the Antichrist, and it's coming through the church. The world's already deceived. So the enemy knows that he has to get the church on board. And what better way to do that than to find someone who's already compromised, someone who is already not sold out for Christ to the fullest extent. And so these big churches, praise God for little churches, these big churches are extremely vulnerable because they feel the pressure of having to go in a certain direction and kind of fit into the culture, so to say, not Christ's culture, but the world's culture. And so that pressure becomes heavy because everything's based on money at that point. And so they feel a need to be a voice for a group of people who may not even be believers of Christ.
Yeah, this is a scary place. I mean, it really is a very scary place. And like I said, it's not that you've never heard this kind of rhetoric before, but to hear a pastor say, now this is the thing, and I tend to be very hard on black pastors. And the reason why is because black pastors have such an enormous sway, and they're such an influence upon the black community that, especially when you talk about black pastors in the abortion issue, black pastors in the voting issue, black pastors in the racial prejudice. But this guy, he's an awful lot like Joy Reid, who we're going to talk about in just a second here. He is stirring up racial prejudice because the Bible one says that we're supposed to pray for our presidents. Okay, we're supposed to pray for our leaders. We're supposed to, even if we don't agree with them. Okay, render unto Caesar what's Caesar's. Right? We're supposed to pray for these people. Okay, but this guy is like, he's basically saying, kill anybody who doesn't agree with us politically. I'm going, well, wait a minute, is your kingdom here or is it up there? And what happens if something should happen to these men and women that don't agree with you? What, I got to think to myself, this guy's walking on thin ice. Am I right? Am I right or am I wrong on this?
Yeah, God has the final say, but I think he has crossed the threshold. I don't consider him a Bible believing pastor. I just don't, because I don't hear the word of God coming from him. Yeah. What I do hear is the reinforcement of racism. What I do hear is division in the church. If you don't agree with what we're believing and what we're standing for, then you could go somewhere else. That is not love and unity like Christ, had for us. So yeah, we're in a crazy, crazy time.
I'm just scared. Yeah, I'm scared. I'm very scared. So folks that are out in Baltimore, I'm just, I want you to be very careful. And if your pastor goes around telling you that any black that is not aligned with the Democratic Party is, that you should beat him up or just do something to him, folks, you need to run to another church. There's no ifs, ands, or buts on this. You cannot sit there and say that the Democrat Party is the one to go. Let God be your guide. We don't, even on this show, we actually have our political bias on who we think that you should vote for, but we would never, ever tell you to go out and kill somebody who does not agree with our particular ideology or the way we think it is, because that's not our job. It really isn't our job. Pastor Tommy, there was another story that just came up, and this was about somebody who you and I know very well, and I know it's probably going to be very hard for you to hear this, but Joy Reid, who had her show on CNN, it's called The Readout, and she was summarily, and I guess not ceremoniously, fired over the weekend. And her show had been on for a couple of years. Once again, such a racist, such a racist woman. I'll tell you, she had a mouth on her like you would not believe. Every 2 seconds, she was calling Donald Trump Hitler or something like that. Everything had a racial thing. And I guess what happens is you've got these stations that will try to find somebody, an Al Sharpton type, that will throw fire start, that kind of stuff. But here's what happened. I want you, once again, to get your take on this on the other side about her closing, her farewell to all the people who had actually seen Joy Reid over the last couple of years. And this was Joy Reid as she was talking about how what her feelings were about how her show was canceled and what she thought about her show. Here, I want to just watch this and we'll see what happens here.
My show had value, and that that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I try not to cry on TV. And I say this is kind of like being on TV, so I apologize. And that it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's
okay. All right. Ooh, boy, I pulled on your heartstrings on that one. All right. We find no joy, folks. We find no joy in seeing anybody fired. Okay, we find no joy in this. Okay, but I'll tell you the truth. I was not upset that Joy Reid finally got what she deserved. I mean, I know we all pray for mercy, hallelujah, but when she was fired, Pastor Tommy did. So I should say, give me your feedback on this whole Joy Reid thing.
My first question is, what took so long? Because they pointed out that her ratings were tanking just before the election. Mm-hmm. And people were tired of the rhetoric. I know that I couldn't stand to, if I saw her, if I was going through news articles and I saw her, I would just skip right over because I didn't want to be incensed by hearing her voice and some of the things that she said. And it, both you and I are Black, and we would love for all of Black people to get together and be unified. Mm-hmm. Sure. Not in a way that's, we're not in the 60s. We don't have to have the Black Panthers marching through town. We're not in that time anymore, right? And that's what they're stirring up. We live in a different time. We don't need division and separation. We need unity and love. And she even mentioned in her weeping speech, which I just thought was like, wow, is this theatrics or? But she mentioned that she was a church girl. So again, it goes back to Jamal Bryant. Maybe she goes to his church. I don't know. But
yeah, sure.
It's the same mentality.
It's the same mentality. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how these folks can say they're churchgoers. They never once, ever talk about Jesus. Not just...
I've never heard it.
I've never heard her ever, until she's in trouble, right? Now, I watch Fox and Friends a lot. I really do. I watch Fox News a lot. Certain other shows, TBN, Daystar, that kind of stuff. And they talk about Jesus all the time. As a matter of fact, they write books and they go, hey, guess what? Book's coming out talking about my faith in Jesus. Now, these are all the anchors. I only think there's only one anchor on Fox that has not written a book and given all Jesus all the glory, okay? And that's Jesse, okay? Jesse Waters, okay? But everybody else is giving God the glory, and they're right. Joy Reid, for these people, all of a sudden pull their Jesus card out. Pull the Jesus card out, okay? It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way, you know? Don't be pulling out the Jesus card because now you're in trouble. And then go, I thought my show had value. I go, you're a racist, such and such, so and so. You know, how do you do this? You know, I just don't get how you do this. You know, so I guess she's probably going to end up trying to start a podcast. I would assume, because everybody does a podcast now. And and here's the thing that people were saying, because Lester Holt is the other guy. So Lester Holt, he was actually let go of NBC also. But if you notice, all of the other folks that are on CNN, MSNBC are still on their show, on the show. So are you telling me that of all the shows that were on there, only people whose ratings were tanking were Lester Holt and this woman? I don't even remember her name anymore. Joy Reid, yes.
How fast it fades. I thought that Lester Holt resigned. I didn't know that he was let go.
He was let go too. Yeah, he sure was.
Wow.
And Lester has been around for decades.
Decades. I remember him when I was a very young man.
Yeah, he's a decades guy. Lester will probably do much better. He will probably do a Bryant Gumbel, and he'll end up getting picked up by some other station. They would do well to pick up Lester Holt. Never known him to be divisive or anything like that. He's kind of he's actually a born-again Christian.
Is he? Wow.
Yeah, he sure is. Born-again Christian. It just happens to work on a, not-so-Christian news station. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for those of you, this might be your first time checking out the show. I'm Pastor Sherman. This is Pastor Tommy. And this is Christ and Culture Show. I want to thank you all for being a part of the broadcast today. And if you'd like to, write to us at christandcultureshow@gmail.com. It's christandcultureshow@gmail.com. Love for you to give us some feedback on our YouTube channel. Also, we actually do have our own YouTube channel. It's called Christ and Culture. And so, I think it's called Christ and Culture Show, as a matter of fact. I'll look it up in just a second. But we just started it, so all of our shows are now being aggregated on that channel right now. Season 1's on there, Season 2's on there, which we are in right now, Season 2. You can check it out on our YouTube channel, or you can check us out on our Godstream TV channel, which is on Godstream TV. Love to hear it. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So no reason why you cannot get us for Christ and Culture. So, Pastor Tommy, there's another story. Now, you know that Elon Musk has been really going through all these departments in houses of Congress, all the White House administration. And so one of the things that came up, and this is a story from NPR, and it said that over the weekend, there was an email sent out to all of the federal workers saying, hey, we want you to send us 5 things that you did over the week. And just bullet point. Just give us bullet. Because what they found out is that 95%, 98%, or 90% of the workforce in the administration don't even come to work. And have not come into work for years. And so some of the folks have said, hey, what is this? What do you mean we have to tell you what we did? We don't answer to you. And so some of the offices tell some of the administrators tell them, hey, you don't have to tell anybody because you're in highly sensitive areas. But there's a big pushback big pushback from federal workers who work for us. Here's the problem. They work for us. DOJ is asking them to account for what they're doing because they work for the people. Pastor Tommy, is there something wrong with a federal employee having to give an account for what they do?
I really don't think so. Being in the military, that's government. And when you're asked to share information, of course, as long as it's not secret or anything like that, and it's asked by the government under the direction of the commander in chief, which is the president, you're obliged to comply. So the pushback, again, I just think it's because they're hiding something. They don't want something seen. If you don't have anything to hide, what is it? Yeah, I wrote these 3 reports this week. I went in, I did an investigation on this, or whatever it is. Just say what it is.
Yeah, or just say something. Hey, I visited my Aunt Sally. Okay, but for them to say, hey, we're not going to tell you what we did. I'm going, wait a minute. Don't you guys work for us? And why is there a problem? I have to do a report every single day. Every single day. And I work for the school district. And every single day, I have a supervisor who wants to know what I did, and that's kind of I have to wear a badge too. You know that? I have to wear a badge every single day. And guess what? If I don't wear my badge, I don't get paid. And and I'm just I just work for the school district, right? So these federal workers on average make 6 figures. They say on average about $106,000 that these guys work. And some of them have not been to work in a couple of years. They had a lady who's, what is she? I forgot the lady's name. She just got another cabinet officer. She went in to her office to go see what was going on in her office. And the place was completely empty. This is her new digs, her new office. It's in a building. Okay, it's not like one office, like a little office. No, it's a building full of cubicles. And she walked through there, and it is completely empty. And she goes, this is what has happened in Washington, D.C. So I'm wondering myself, is this just the tip of the iceberg? Where they're going to start finding out that there's so much abuse, so much waste, generational, systemic, that's my big word now, systemic waste, that you're going to be able to lay off 80% of the people who work in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. I saw it when I was in the military. I saw wasteful spending. When you're there and you see it, being a little 19, 20, 21-year-old, you're like, wow, they did that? Wow, okay. But as you get older and you get more involved in things that pertain to life, then you realize, wait a minute, if that one person or that one unit has done it in the government, who else is doing it? and what other levels are they, doing it? So I believe that this is the tip of the iceberg, and it has been systemic for years and decades, possibly, absolutely decades. And it's going to get uncovered, and a lot of people are going to get uncomfortable. And we just need to pray, because I know the pressure is mounting. If you poke a bear too many times, he's going to get angry and he's going to get upset. And I feel like that's what the opposition, we'll call it that, the opposition is really sensing that they're being backed into a corner, and who knows what they're going to do,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You better believe it. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I've looked at certain websites. I've looked at the DOJ website. I've looked at some of the government, the GAO, which I would like to talk about here in just a second too, and Citizens for, responsible government, that kind of stuff. And here's what I've found out so far, is that the amount of waste is almost staggering. So right now they were saying that wouldn't it be great if they could actually see Fort Knox? Because they were talking about Fort Knox, right? That the president wants to go in because Doge wants to go in and see the gold at Fort Knox, right? Because right now, nobody's seen that in years. And there are senators, congressmen who've put in requests for decades now. They put it 10 years ago, they put in a request, we want to see the gold at Fort Knox. And they go, no, we're not going to let you see it. I go, well, why wouldn't you let me see it? If you guys work for us. We work, I'm a person, I'm a sitting senator or congressman. Well, the GAO said something about the amount of fraud and waste. And the numbers are staggering. Literally staggering. Over like the last, 10 years, $2.8 trillion in waste. They're talking about, they say, here's the thing about Pastor Tommy, is they say that they keep sending notes year after year telling Congress, you guys need to fix this. You need to fix this. You need to fix this. The Postal Service, the IRS, FEMA, they keep writing to them, telling them, guys, you need to fix this because this is not chump change, okay? I think that's what Democrats are saying now. They're going, oh, you're just a couple of million here, a billion there, okay? Stacey Abrams, remember, this was an interesting article that was up, and we didn't, I didn't give you this article, but Stacey Abrams, in the last days of the Biden administration, was given her organization was given $20 billion, not with an M, with a B, $20 billion to do whatever, okay? Just a year before, they had a budget of $100